Welcome to episode 6 of the TM GolfCast. My name is Tad Myers, and in this episode, I sat down with Grant Barracchini, and he is another Cal U PGM student. Just like last week, Josh Short, this week we have another Cal U PGM student, and in this episode, it was actually recorded a few months ago, and I thought I'd release it with a couple PGM students in a row. So this is Grant Barracchini. We actually recorded this on our way back from actually getting dinner one night, and so I do apologize for the background noise of the car. You do hear that a little bit, but yeah, we talk about everything under the sun, from being a Cal U PGM student to where he wants to go as an instructor and what his future looks like. So without further ado, this is Grant Barracchini, episode 6.
How you doing tonight, dude?
I'm doing just dandy, man. I'm loving it.
So we just had a good meal at Olive Garden. Just ate there. It was really good. Did you like your food?
I was so hungry after work. Anything I could put down, I was pretty pleased with.
You ate that really quick too.
Yeah, 4 breadsticks is a little aggressive.
I didn't realize you had all 4.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely ate all 4.
Oh wow, you downed that spaghetti.
Yeah, work
really
will do that to you.
So where are you exactly at now in your PGM career? Yes.
Yeah. So currently I'm on my second internship. Obviously I am at the California University of Pennsylvania PGM program, and we do an internship every summer.
This is your second internship,
yes,
correct?
this is my second internship right now, and I'm at Nemacolin Woodlands Resort. And previously I was actually at Swickley Heights Country Club, and that's kind of where I'm at internship-wise, for sure.
So, what is the difference between, the resort style area and then, the higher-end country club?
Yeah. I mean, there's a huge difference. I've seen it the most between the two different cultures because, at a higher-end country club, big money, there's specific rules, regulations, ways things have to be done, a certain standard of look and way you have to act. And I mean, I get that's in the golf industry, but it's definitely from there to a resort style it's a lot more relaxed at the resort, for sure. One of the best kind of examples I use is, when I went to work at Swickley, they expected, top button done, you always had to make sure that, you wore a specific belt, and everything was very, very precise and exact and had to be done a certain way, which is fine, but it's definitely just a different type of culture. And now at my current job, and Nemacolin is definitely a higher end resort, so I mean you're definitely getting some decent clientele in there, and there's definitely a standard. But when I get ready for work, I have my button down shirt that they gave me, and I'm allowed to roll up the sleeves, I'm allowed to kind of wear whatever pants I suit fit, obviously golf pants, but I can wear something that's a little more casual that I feel good in, and I get to kind of just enjoy my day and talk to people, man. It's a huge culture shift from what I've noticed, and I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the resort style, for sure.
So how did you get? So you're at Nemacolin now. What does your future look like? Where do you want to go?
Yeah.
From Nemacolin, you're outside ops, you're inside the shop a little bit.
Yeah.
I know you do want to do teaching. What exactly? What part of teaching and where exactly?
Yeah. So that's definitely the direction I want to go. Teaching the game of golf is something I absolutely love. I've had many opportunities with my friends at Cal and stuff like that to do teaching and to get involved in it, and I love it, man. So that's the direction I'm heading. A lot of the reason I'm at Nemacolin Woodlands specifically is because it has their golf academy, and it has Eric Johnson, who's I believe a top 40, or he's a pretty high-ranked teacher, throughout the country or throughout the world. And just to have the opportunities to build relationships with him and to kind of shadow him is a lot of the reason why I came here. And so that's kind of what my strategic goal internship-wise ended up being. But I mean, in the future for me, I love teaching, man. I don't know where exactly it'll take me, but I know I want to make people happy through the game of golf, and that's my best way of doing that, and the way it makes me happy as well.
Do you feel like you've always had this niche for teaching, or like have you always felt like you wanted to be a teacher?
No.
No?
No. I mean, like, if you would have asked me when I was, you know, in middle school or high school, like, you know, you're going to be not necessarily, you know, a golf instructor, but just a teacher, I would have said there's not a chance. I mean, I don't. That's not something in my life I really saw myself doing. You know, teaching and having to, you know, improve somebody intellectually or physically or what have you. But you know, as I got into golf, that was where I found my place. That was where I knew I could make people happy. I knew I could make myself happy, and I knew that, you know, it was something that interested me. It interested me for the fact that I could drastically improve somebody's, you know, just golf game, and that impacts other aspects of their life. You know, I mean, golf, and this is getting a little deeper, but for a lot of people look at the game of golf as like a microcosm of life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you learn a lot about yourself, you know, through your experiences, through your failures, through your successes, and being a teacher is kind of being on the road through that, you know.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that's so interesting and so cool, and that's, you know, kind of where I see myself.
Kind of like,
you know,
being a mentor, being that
Yeah.
person where other people look up to you and you improve their well-being.
Yeah, because it's not just teaching mechanics too. I mean, there's definitely a mental aspect that you can help somebody. You know, obviously you talk about it in the setting of the game of golf, but, you know, it helps people learn. Like, golf helps people learn, and it prepares them for life in different aspects. So I find that interesting, and I really, really, really attach to that. You know, that kind of thinking as to why I want to be a teacher.
That is really cool. Yeah, you know where you want to be, and you're on the road to get there. How did you start? So let's go. How, like, let's talk about like how you started the game of golf,
Mm-hmm.
and like into the game, and then through your journey, the different places you worked at.
Yeah.
And like, let's just circle back to now.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, I'm a golf nut. You know, kind of how I got into the game was, you know, when I was younger, you know, my dad used to watch sports and stuff, and obviously, like, on Sundays, you know, there's a golf tournament going on, he's throwing it on. Now, he wasn't a big golfer or anything, but when I watched it, it was something that for some reason I got attached to. And as soon as I started walking, one of the things that my parents always loved talking about was, you know, I would always crinkle up, you know, paper balls and hit them with like coat hangers or hit them with a shovel in like a golf swinging motion, and kind of just imitate what was going on TV, which is pretty cool. But, you know, as I got older, you know, my parents put, you know, plastic golf clubs in my hand, and the game of golf started taking shape in my life a little bit. So plastic clubs, then to metal clubs, then to, you know, playing tournaments and you know, getting swing lessons and stuff like that. And it was, you know, golf's been a huge part of my life, and whether it was just meant to be or whether it was something I put in there, it's something I couldn't be happier. That is the focal point of my life, for sure.
So when you were like playing golf when you were in elementary school,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little bit younger, did you kind of see yourself like thinking this is kind of what I want to do, or like did you see yourself really going after it?
Yeah, it was interesting. I actually didn't see myself in the golf industry. I saw myself, you know, doing something on the side, but I knew, like, you know, if I, you know, for example, you know, became some sort of businessman, worked a 9 to 5, I knew, you know, on my days off, I'd be grinding at the golf course, being a range rat and playing golf as much as possible. I didn't know that I'd actually, you know, be working in golf at the same time. So that was definitely not something I envisioned, but I love the game so much, I can't, it's tough, as crazy as it sounds, it's tough for me to get away from it. I don't really want to, you know.
And you're always grinding, like you were, I mean, 7 a.m. every morning, you're at the putting green. I mean, you're at late night putting green at 2 a.m. just practicing.
No, I love it, man. I mean, you could just, people, you know, the common description for me is definitely a range rat, man.
Oh, for sure,
I love it.
But that's a good thing. You're committed and you're devoted to improving yourself.
Well, thank you.
And
I appreciate that.
That's very admirable with definitely different people who are else in the industry who look for people like that as well.
Thank you.
So like, when did you start? Like when you were now you started at 7 Oaks, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So when when did you start like wanting a job and saying like, hey, let's go to a golf course?
Yeah, so, as it kind of started, I was 16, needed a job.
Did your parents kind of like say, you need a job?
Oh, yeah.
We're not going to give you any more money.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. It definitely came to a point where my parents said, all right, it's time for you to start learning the real world. But, I wanted the opportunity to have a golf course I could play at, and I knew if I worked at, Seven Oaks Country Club specifically, that I would have, playing privileges. So that was the biggest thing for me. So I knew I wanted to work there. So that's kind of how I got into just working in the golf industry. But there's a whole other side to the golf industry that, isn't just the game of golf. It's just kind of the people and the camaraderie between, workers, members, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that part of it I definitely fell in love with on the side as well.
Oh, for sure.
And that was one of the beginning factors of why I ended up going to a PGM program, for sure.
I think, personally for me, like, I see the golf industry as 3 different sections. There's the business side, there's the playing side, but then there's also the customer service side, which is all of that kind of combined. You're dealing with customer service on a daily basis, and I think you also fell in love with that as well, with the teaching side.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, it's so cool. I mean, and the thing specifically about teaching that, like, I noticed it is so one-on-one. You learn so much about each other and through kind of trying to figure out the game of golf together, that it's a unique experience for sure.
Absolutely. And so, like, what duties were you at Seven Oaks?
So Seven Oaks, I actually started out. Seven Oaks, to give it a little background, is a little bit of kind of a lower-end country club. You could probably be a member there for about $100 a month, and as long as you paid your food minimum, I mean, you're living the dream playing golf at a pretty low rate, at a pretty decent course for sure. But yeah, so I started out just being kind of an outside ops guy, clean carts, clean people's bags, close up at the end of the night. But the thing about Seven Oaks was they only had a PGA professional, one PGA professional. There was no assistant, no help. So, once the PGA professional left for the day at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, we had to close up. So early on, I got to learn, how to run the shop, how to, reconcile the end of the day and kind of get all the money taken care of and stuff like that, the business aspect of running a golf shop. So, I was introduced to that pretty early on as well. But yeah, I mean, outside of the typical outside ops and range management and whatever else have you, that was kind of how I started in the industry for sure.
So you worked at Seven Oaks from 16 to what age?
So I worked from 16 to 18.
18?
For about a year and a half, 2 years.
Okay. And then you went to Cal. You graduated high school and moved to Cal?
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah. So I got out of high school and then, saw myself doing nothing else but golf. So, Cal was the only place that I could, play on a golf team and be in a PGM program at the same time. Double the golf. But yeah, so that was the only place I was able to do that. So I knew I was going to go there.
Now, what high school did you go to?
Yeah, I went to Beaver area.
Did you? So you played on the golf team?
Yeah, I played on the golf team there 4 years.
4 years. Did you go to states?
Yeah. So I went to. I was a 4-year letter winner, and I went to the Peoples all 4 years. I don't think I ever made it to states.
Okay.
But yeah, I definitely got my playing opportunities in high school for sure.
Okay, so just keep driving and just keep going. I know you love to drive.
Yeah. You know me.
Yeah. Okay. Just keep driving. I don't care. We'll just finish the podcast.
We'll find somewhere. Well, I have to get gas though.
Okay.
We'll pause it.
Yeah, keep going. So you're on the golf team. You're working. Now, were you were working at Seven Oaks while you were
at the
in
same
high
time.
school?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then you're at Cal. It's your first semester. What were you thinking about internship your first semester? Were you thinking about where to go?
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting part about it. Actually, where I'm at now was where I wanted to be freshman year for sure. I was eyeing up Nemacolin for the reasons I talked about, being around a high level instructor. So that was kind of my initial go for. But the problem was Cal U kind of didn't really have any good connections to Nemacolin Woodlands, and they had just recently hired my current boss, Justin Collins. So it kind of was tough to get it in there my freshman year. So I knew I kind of wanted to find a place where, at the very least, was a very nice golf course and was a place that I could practice all the time. And so I knew from my high school playing days, one of the teams we used to play against, Quaker Valley, played at Swickley Heights Country Club or Golf Club. And it was a course that I really loved. I always played well there, so made it a little easier to want to go there. So that's kind of the only reasons why Swickley Heights stood out in my mind and why I ended up there.
So you could practice anytime you wanted.
Yeah.
Now at Swickley, where did they put you? Were you outside ops, or were you in the shop a lot?
So Swickley was, it kind of was like a hybrid. I was, partly like an outside manager, because they didn't have a huge staff. I mean, they had a head pro, basically, a director of golf, and an assistant pro, and then me, the intern. So it wasn't a huge staff. So we also had an outside operations manager. So I was half a golf shop attendant, half a outside ops manager. So I got to see the whole kind of golf operation, which was so cool. But at the same time, it was a lot of responsibility thrown on me for only being in the golf industry, I guess, for a year and a half. But I definitely was kind of thrown to the fire and learned a lot.
I want to go back to right before Swickley. You went to the PGA Merchandise Show. Was this your first year? And this was It was your first time there. But were you wanting to go to that for a long time before you had the opportunity to?
I mean, I had seen it a lot on the Golf Channel, where you see all these cool new golf products, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so cool. I want to see it. But the show itself, I didn't know much about it, to be honest. I didn't really know what it was. And so going into that my first time, I didn't know what to expect in the least. It's actually funny, the first literally 3 or 4, I wouldn't say, let's say 30 to 40 steps I took inside the convention center, we see Matt Kuchar just walk right in front of us. I say, hey, Mr. Kuchar, and he waves and continues walking by. It was like, whoa. Whoa, golf's right in front of all of golf is collected right in front of my face, which is what I ended up learning that it is.
That is so cool. So it was your first PGA show. You got to meet some people down there, make a lot of connections. What was that kind of like?
Yeah, so I definitely was still trying to feel out the place a little bit. I didn't understand, as I do now, and most golf professionals do, the PGA Merchandise Show. It's a good time, and it's a good time to connect with people and network and stuff like that. And that I didn't get to do enough of, just because my network in the golf industry was so small. And kind of the way I approach meeting people. I'm extroverted, when I talk to you, but I'm not going to go out of my way to kind of throw myself in front of you.
So you're at your second semester back to the PGA show.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a lot more connections going into the show? What was your second show like compared to your first show?
My second show specifically was a lot more focused on, me kind of, just relaxed, a lot more relaxed, just because I knew what to expect. I can't say my connections were that much more broad, but at the same time, I kind of had, to begin the interview process for Nemacolin Woodlands at the same time too. So, just my goal was just to relax, enjoy being around my friends, enjoy learning what I can from the show, and just, enjoy the experience of my upcoming interview for Nemacolin Woodlands. I didn't have any goals of people I wanted to meet or anything.
You didn't?
Because, no, a lot of it was, like I said, I kind of let, life play itself out in front of me a little bit, to an extent. So it wasn't anybody I was going to jump out in front of, but, I was excited to see what experiences I would run into. So when it comes to personal interactions, it's tough for me to just, jump out in front of you and say, hi world, my name's Grant,
I think that's where I don't want to say
Oh, absolutely.
differ.
Yeah, no, I'd say
Because I'm
differ,
definitely
for
that way
sure.
a little bit. I'm a little bit drawn back.
You
But
know?
I think I'm that bother.
Yeah.
And I hate being that guy. But at the same time, it's like, I love meeting new people, but I definitely bother people. And that's one thing that I feel bad about.
Yeah, no, and that's something we've even talked about too. Like, it's so good what you do for like business though, like getting out there and just putting yourself out in front of people so that at least they know your name or face. You know what I mean? I struggle with that, but at the same time, like, you know, I feel like my interactions, like I can, if I do get that opportunity of talking to that person, I can make it happen long term. Whereas sometimes, like when you're too much in front of somebody, like they could get annoyed, kind of like you said.
Absolutely.
Depending. It depends who they are.
There's a couple
how your
people I have in
interactions
mind that I
go.
feel like I've definitely annoyed and bothered a lot.
Oh yeah, there's some great
I feel
people,
bad
and
for people.
even from my perspective, like there's some great people that I just shied away from and didn't go out to go meet, you know. So I mean, there's definitely ups and downs to, you know, what different people do in business and what we do specifically. But
yeah,
it's definitely interesting. It's definitely interesting. You see it in different people too, you know.
So that was episode 6 of the TM GolfCast. So I'll see you guys next week for another great episode.